Hello and a warm welcome to the Federal. I'm Neelu Vyas. RSS is not giving up on the Muslim community just yet. In fact, it has opened up its back channel negotiations, and in a fresh outreach to the Muslim community, senior RSS leaders like Krishna Gopal, Ramlal, Indresh Kumar, they met the Muslim bodies. And this is after the first meeting with the Muslim intellectuals, which was held in August this year. So the questions we are raising today is that how is this second outreach program different from the first one? Is it a follow-up of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's conciliatory approach, which he sounded at the recent National Executive meeting? And are we to assume that RSS will tone down its rhetoric towards the Muslim community? And before I start the interview, I must tell the viewers that this second outreach meeting happened at former Lieutenant Governor's residence, Najeeb Jung, and Najeeb Jung himself is with us today for the interviews. Thank you so much, sir, for joining on the Federal. And my first question to you, sir, is that you all met RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat in August. Now, how is this second meeting different from the first one?
Neelu, first let me clarify that the August meeting was not the first meeting. We started this initiative, this group of friends. We started this initiative actually in 2019, about August or September of 2019.
Okay.
And the idea again is the same as it was today, that efforts must be made to build bridges, that the gaps that have begun to exist or have existed should be sort of reduced to the extent possible. And we believe that this was possible only through dialogue. So we did meet the Sanchalik in the August or September of 2019. And it was a first-class meeting where we again left with great hope. We found him extremely congenial and welcoming to our approach. Let me also make it clear that the initiative had not come from the Sanchalik. The initiative was ours.
Okay.
So to say that that this was a change of strategy by the RSS is not correct. But as we were leaving, Mr. Bhagwat did say that we must meet again and we must meet often and continue this dialogue because it is essential to improve relations. He was, in fact, kind enough to say that, well, visit me in Nagpur in the coming June, where we have the Vijay Dashmi function. But unfortunately, COVID had struck by then, and everything came to a stop. So all this that I'm talking to you took a backseat thanks to Mr. COVID. And now, when things were much better, we met again. And we said that we should again revive this effort. And it was a continuation of that, therefore, that I wrote to the Sanchalik that we wish to meet him again. And then he met us in August.
Right. As far as I remember, Mr. Jung, the August meeting, and we had done extensive debates at that time also when this meeting happened with you all and the RSS Mohan Bhagwat chief. So my point was that at that time also the media was told that mob lynchings, bulldozer politics, all that was discussed. But despite all that, we had statements from Sadhvi Pragya Thakur, talking about sharpening knives and getting ready against the Muslim community. Then you had the big interview by RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat himself, where he talks about that boisterous rhetoric of Muslims should abandon the supremacy narrative. So when all that is there, so what kind of a credence do these kind of meetings really hold? Does it really make sense? Because you have the meetings, but then again, somehow it gets watered down.
Let me put it this way, Neelu. These meetings are not going to bear fruition in a single meeting or even in 2 or 3 or 5 meetings. This is a continuing effort to build bridges between communities that do not see eye to eye on many issues. There are
Right.
issues that rankle with the Hindu community. There are issues which rankle with the Muslim community. So to say or to expect that we would have come out of the August meeting with flying colors and have put an end to the rankleness and to the bad blood is being extremely naive. I have heard some of the debates. I don't know the debates that you did, but let me be very, very clear that our intention is to continue meeting, because I think that dialogue is the only way forward between communities. Now, let me also make one thing clear. I do not represent the Muslim community. I have not been elected by them. I do not belong to the clergy. I am no high-flown intellectual that can speak on their behalf. But I and my friends did take the effort because we believe that as right-thinking Indians, with the welfare of all communities in our minds and hearts, we wish to open this dialogue, and we did it with a clear intention and heart, but fully knowing that A, it is going to take time, if at all it would succeed, and B, that it would be appreciated by some, and or it would be denigrated by others. And we are following that path. So the second meeting we had indeed was when Mr. Bhagwat had, yes, sorry.
No. I think that when the first round, I mean, the August meeting I'm talking about was between RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat and you all liberal thinkers from the Muslim community, or so-called Muslim intellectuals. But this time, as part of the deliberations, we found that there were several Muslim bodies as well, like Jamaat-e-Islami Hind and Jamiat Ulama-e-Hind. Then you had Ajmer Dargah, Salman Chishti. So how did that make a difference? The presence of these Muslim bodies, did it make any kind of a difference?
You know, when we left Mr. Bhagwat, we had decided or discussed how would we take this forward. And it was decided between us, and he concurred, that we should involve the larger Muslim community, as indeed other communities.
Right.
And that is where the clerics, the ulama, people like Salman Rushdie, people like Mahmood Madani, a very, very senior cleric like Maulana Arshad Madani, they came in. And the reason is to expand this group and come to an understanding that the way forward is by holding hands. And let me tell you that this is the most heartening aspect of this entire sort of episode, that none of the clerics, none of the Muslim ulama or intellectuals that we have contacted have refuted this idea or shot down this idea. We were terribly encouraged, and therefore these people decided to come into the second meeting, because we had decided with the Sanchalak that we would expand this group, and then he would send in his nominees. It cannot be expected that the Sanchalak would attend every meeting. He is a busy person. So he sent in, actually he had nominated 4 people. 3 came, and another 4th also, who I'll name to you, you did not name him. So Mr. Krishnan Gopal, who's a very, very senior person, he had been nominated by the Sanchalak himself. So was Mr. Ramlal, and so was Mr. Indresh, who in any way is part of their Muslim outreach program. The 4th person who attended this meeting was a gentleman called Mr. Bharat, who is in charge of the Delhi part of the Sangh. And we met and we spent many hours. Mr. Manmohan Vaidya, who was the 4th person named by the Sanchalak, couldn't attend. He had work in Nagpur. And I expect that in the future meetings, we'll be able to get him also.
But sir, do you think that this is some kind of a fallout of the conciliatory approach which Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke of at the recent national executive which was held in Delhi? Because he said that, we need to reach out to the Bohras, to the Muslims, to the Sikhs. In fact, he asked the party cadres to reach out to the entire minority community. So do you see RSS and BJP almost now coming on the same page when these kind of meetings happen?
No, let us, number one, understand that Mr. Modi's speech, which is most welcome, came only recently. Our effort started 3 years ago, like I said. So they are not related. Mr. Modi is the leader of the largest political party. He's the Prime Minister of India. And so he makes his own political decisions. The Sangh has its own say in the party and indeed within the government. But I am completely unaware if there is any contact of this kind or on these aspects between the Sangh and Mr. Modi. That would be incorrect of me to conjecture.
Okay. But Mr. Chung, the larger objective of these kind of meetings is to, bridge the trust deficit which is there between the present dispensation or the RSS and the Muslim community. And of course, the larger goal is to remove those kind of misgivings. So are you assured enough, like you said, that it's a time-taking process, it's not going to happen in a day or maybe few meetings, and you're prepared for that long haul, that it could take time. But then if you talk about the onus of RSS, you don't find them very forthright, and we don't expect those kind of results, and at least from their side they don't show that they are ready to remove those misgivings, because there's one-off statement coming from somebody or the other, which the things are back to square one.
Well, what can I say about that? I mean that we have met the top people of the Sangh, and the message we have got very clearly is that the Sangh wishes to take the Muslim community along. Mr. Bhagwat was categorical when he told us that at the highest echelons of the Sangh, we know and we are aware that India has 20% minorities and they cannot be left behind. And so if Muslims are 15% or whatever, it's absolutely imperative for Muslims to move along with the larger brother. In fact, I had told Mr. Bhagwat that, look, you have to make that statement that the Hindu community is the elder brothers of the Muslim and the Christian and the Sikh community. My words to him in Hindi was ke aap bade bhai hain aur aapka vrad hast in communities pe hona avashyak hai. And he absolutely agreed with that. So, but the Sangh, please understand, is a very, very large body. So there are bound to be voices. And I am sure that within the Sangh, Mr. Bhagwat is fighting a tough battle. Because if there are different groups within the Sangh, and if there are voices within the Sangh which are not so amenable to this approach, then you will indeed hear all this.
But Mr. Jung, are you not thinking of similar kinds of meetings with the BJP as well? Because all said and done, BJP does talk about the narrative of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. They talk about, giving houses to all the communities and not differentiating or discriminating. They talk about free rations. They talk about the economic benefits. But the social alienation of Muslims, the way it is, panning out for the last so many years, why don't you think of reaching out to the BJP as well? We don't find any political representation of the Muslims anywhere. They don't give tickets to the Muslim community. That's another reality. So, are you not talking parallelly to the current regime as well, apart from RSS?
Yes. Look, talking to the BJP actually will be effective when we speak to the Prime Minister himself. I mean, he's the big boss, and his word will hold sway. His footprint is the largest in the country.
And have you tried to do so? Have you tried to reach out to the Prime Minister?
I was coming to that. We thought that after meeting the Sarsanchalak and having traveled a little, we will seek time with the Honorable Prime Minister. And I will indeed request the time of the Prime Minister so that some of us can go and meet him and put the same thing to him. Because we sincerely believe, after Prime Minister's recent statement, we are terribly encouraged that after our meetings with Mr. Bhagwat and in the light of the Honorable Prime Minister's latest sort of statement that, the party must reach out to all shades of Muslims, including the Pasmandas and the Forwards and the Bohras, that's a very positive statement. And should that happen, should that take effect? I said somewhere in another interview that for this to come into action, we have yet to see how the district administrations and the BJP-ruled states take this advice of the PM, because the proof of the pudding will lie with the district administrations, which is the district collectors, the superintendents of police, because they take their ishara from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I mean, the days when we were in service, I think, are long gone. These days, there is a greater deal of politicization in the bureaucracy. And so I really hope that that the civil services, the police, take heed to the Prime Minister's advice.
But as the elections come closer, we generally see a very polarizing narrative when it comes to the BJP leaders, or for that matter, the right-wingers, the Hindu brigade, the way they start lashing out at the Muslim community. What do you really have to say? And supposing if you meet the Prime Minister, you met RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat earlier as well, but then again, when he gave the interview to the organizer, he said something which was quite extreme and quite fundamentalist, if I may say. So what do you really expect that, if this kind of a statement is coming from the top echelons, Prime Minister might tell you the same. And if it doesn't happen the way you want, then what's the point in going ahead?
I think every party fights elections to win elections.
Right.
Fighting elections and coming into power is a very, very rigorous and an expensive exercise. So I have no doubt in my mind that there will be an extent of polarization in this country till 2024. Let's accept that as a reality as we go forward. We saw in the UP elections, we are seeing that in the Karnataka elections, that kind of hate speech or whatever you call will come up.
Right.
Insofar as Mr. Bhagwat's statement to the organizer is concerned, I think, because I've heard the original statement, he made it in Hindi, that it has been misreported. His colleagues who came to us read out the Panjanya. And what Mr. Bhagwat has said, for instance, about the 1,000 Years' War, they clearly said that India has been at war for a long time, since the time of Alexander. And we are fighting foreign influences, and we shall continue to resist foreign cultures, because it can hit at our own.
But many people read this interview as something which was very similar to what Rajiv Gandhi said when Indira Gandhi was killed. He said that, if there's a strong, if there is a storm, then, the trees fall, something on those lines. So is it not a very extreme kind of is there any similarity between what was said at that time and something like that, which Mr. Bhagwat?
These are completely different events. And I think that the comparison is not right, because what I am no one to comment. I'm not commenting on Mr. Gandhi's statement. Let's be very clear on that. That's a different debate. Okay. Coming to Mr. Bhagwat's statement, he did say that India has been at war for a long, long period, and that the influence of such influences which come in through the wars adversely impact our culture, and we are resisting that, number one. So he doesn't say that I am at war now. That's the Hindi version, which actually was read out to us. The only thing that was reported correctly by the English press was he did say that Muslims have a sense of superiority and that they must shed. And that comes from his feeling that there is a section of the Muslim community which believe that, we've been rulers for so many years and therefore we are superior. And we told them.
Do you agree with what Mr. Bhagwat said on this point?
No, of course not. Of course not. And we told them that this is, it's a laughable statement, really. Because if anything, the Muslim community is at its end. The Muslim community is looking for support. The Muslim community is looking for hand-holding, not only from government, but from its neighbors, from the mohallas where the Muslims live. The Muslim community is extremely concerned at actions taken by the government in the last 2 or 3 years, whether it is the CAA, NRC, whether it is the lynchings or, the bulldozers, etc. The Muslim community is very, very concerned. And so to say that anybody would have a sense of superiority is not right. So absolutely. I can't comment on what and why he said that or from where it's coming. But the rest of the statement that was reported in the press is not right.
But Mr. Jung, do you really feel that the present dispensation is completely unmindful or oblivious about this 20% population? They just talk about economic inclusion, that we've given this, we've given that, and we believe in sabka saath, sabka vikas, but they don't want to go into the aspect of social alienation. How would that part be addressed really? And are they really willing to do it?
No, I think that the government must understand that there is an internationally accepted norm called affirmative action, that you do hand-holding for minorities and for weaker communities. Unfortunately, in India, over the last 20, 25 years, the word affirmative action has been taken as appeasement. Now, when you say appeasement, and the whole country believes it is appeasement, so you Christians are favored, Muslims are favored, but the countrymen are not looking at the Sachar Committee report, because over the years, if you see, the condition of the Dalits today is better than that of Muslims.
Right.
And when on top of that, you remove scholarships that were coming to the Muslim community, it shakes the confidence of the Muslim community and the Christian community, as indeed the Sikh community.
Right.
So let's understand that government has to accept affirmative action for the weaker sections. Economic development by saying, "Aapko ghar bhi milenge, jo hum auron ko denge, ya gas cylinder bhi milega," that's all right. And I agree that has helped the Muslims a great deal wherever they require. Because in the village, if there are 10 houses to be given and 2 or 3 are given to Muslims, that's a very, very welcome step. I think it's a wonderful thing to be done. But the minorities need the government to take an extra step forward.
Right.
The question of economic, that the Muslims are economically backward and the steps we are taking will benefit them economically is not sufficient. It is a misinterpretation of reality, because apart from the economic reality, your mind has to be strengthened. The community has to gain confidence that this government is my government. You can't be alienated. And that's the approach that we are trying to take, Neelu, to convince the Muslim community as well as the Hindu community. Now, again, let me reiterate, we are not leaders of this community.
Right.
We are not even journalists like you that our voice will reach far. So we are grateful that an interview like this, my voice will at least get to some people. We are not leaders, but we have the welfare of all communities at heart, because we also believe that if the Muslims do not progress, then the others will also suffer.
But Mr. Jung, I'm not doubting your efforts on your end at all. But the question is that there is a certain distrust in what the government is doing. Now, the most recent example is that the accused in the Bilkis Banu rape case, they were scot-free. They were let to go out, and then nobody, in fact, they were garlanded by the BJP leaders. Now, when you have these deliberations, or you have deliberations of these kinds, don't you give these examples,
Yes.
of how to address these
all this
issues?
is spoken. Yes, all this is spoken. And let me be very clear that the Sangh, at least the Sangh, says that we do not favor all this. We do not favor aggressive action against minorities. That's the Sangh stand to us.
Right.
Now, where the administrations...
Right. You said that is a Sangh. You said that is the Sangh's stand to you, in front of you, that they are saying yes. But then the political action is totally at a divergence. So am I to assume that there is some kind of a difference in what RSS is saying and what BJP does? Or if I may say that both of them don't listen to each other?
No, we have discussed this before, that the RSS is saying something and we have not discussed with government. And I do not know what the RSS says to the government or what the government says to the RSS. I am not privy to that. I am making a single solo initiative in the hope, in the desperate hope that efforts of this small group of 5 friends will bear fruition at some point of time. That is our hope.
Mr. Jung, I want to talk to you about three more examples. The first being Sadhvi Pragya Thakur's statement where she says that it's time now to sharpen your kitchen knives. You may have to use it against a certain community. She doesn't take the name of the community. Then the second example I would like to talk to you about is the movie Pathan, Shah Rukh Khan's movie Pathan. And there was a lot of backlash, just because that, Shah Rukh Khan was the hero in that movie. And then the third example, of course, is the documentary India, the Modi question. And there is a lot of backlash because it is being screened all over. Students are watching that. There's a lot of repression that the screening shouldn't happen. And people have been saying, and even in the outside world, say, for example, in UK, people like Rami Ranger have been saying that, it's just like opening the fresh wounds of Godhra, and it's not right. The timing of BBC is not all right. So what you really have to say when you join the dots around these three examples which I'm giving you, is it not building again a narrative that the present the dispensation doesn't, it seems, is looking at the Muslim community very seriously. They are onto some kind of a political narrative. They're sitting on some kind of a high horse, and they wouldn't give heed to what the others are saying.
I think Sadhvi Pragya's statement was appalling, that criminal action should be taken against her, and she's been widely criticized. I don't want to go further into that. There is a legal case on her. I'm sure that law will take its course. On Shah Rukh, I think the people of India has spoken.
You're confident that some action will be taken against Sadhvi Pragya?
I can't say. I'm only saying that I'm told that there's a criminal case which will be followed in due course. Law does take its course. I've been in administration long enough to know that the wheels of law may be slow, but they sometimes do move. On Shah Rukh, I think the people of India has spoken. For the movie to make 150 crores in 2 days, and the success that no other film, I was told that is going to make more money than RRR. So I think the people have spoken that you can't get into cinema halls and try to stop a film for some silly reason. It doesn't work. And that's a very good salutary example for ruffians who try to take law in their hands, number two. Number three, on the movie, on these documentaries, I haven't seen them. I have no access to them. But I think that banning has proved counterproductive. Because, technology is such that you can't stop them from coming. And it has raised more more noise than it would have made otherwise. Had it come, how many people have access to YouTube? They would have seen it. And I'm told that it's a 1-hour documentary, and 2 documentaries make 2 hours. People would much rather watch a Netflix film than a documentary that speaks of gross tragedy. But now that it is banned, and it is going to flow into India anyway, the student community and others, their sort of antennas have been raised. So it's a decision which could have been avoided. It's a decision which we could have, or if we had to say, we could have said, look, this is an exaggeration. The BBC doesn't know its facts right, or whatever. But I think the banning was tactically a wrong step.
But do you think that this again would become a hindrance because people are again, it's like a flashback to what happened in Godhra in 2002. And in fact, the Modi government, it seemingly doesn't want to, relive through those moments. And therefore, hence, the ban is in place. But because you are making an outreach on behalf of the Muslim community, there are Muslim bodies who are getting in touch with RSS. So do you think that all these instances which are coming on the way, they can be some kind of a hindrance or some kind of a pushback? How do you see that?
No, I don't think that this has anything to do with our outreach program. We will continue our efforts. Godhra is a fact of history. People will remember it from time to time. People will forget it from time to time. So it's really not a very nice spot in India's history. But having said that,
yes, one last question, Mr. Jung, before I wind up the interview, that RSS's favorite agenda is, of course, turning India into a Hindu Rashtra. Now, if that is the basic premise, They have fundamental agendas like asking the Muslim community to hand over Kashi and the Mathura mosques to the Hindus. So as long as these agendas are alive, efforts like yours, are they really going to be successful? Because that is a very headstrong idea in their minds.
These are very ticklish questions. How the issues of mosques will be resolved again, I am no one to predict, because they are very sensitive issues to both communities. The Hindus feel that injustice has been done, that there were very sacred temples there and mosques were built over there.
Right.
Whatever the facts of history is, they are now in court and they will be fought there. These are, look, what are we trying? We are first trying to resolve the issues that are less contentious.
Okay.
There are many issues and then there are very ticklish issues, which will go into, which will take time. So let's wait and see what happens. The word in Urdu is nujum. I don't prophesy these things, how they will work out. But I do believe that India is a great country, that Muslims who have stayed back owe nothing to anybody except themselves. They do not have to prove their loyalty. And the earlier the government realizes that they should be part of the system, that they should take Muslims along, that not to have Muslims in the cabinet or the Supreme Court or the civil service is not right. This will have to be rectified.
Absolutely. And wish you all the best in the efforts you are making, Mr. Jung. And we would like to see you being successful in your efforts. Thank you so much. And one appeal with the audience, share this video as much as possible and do send us your feedback and stay tuned to the Federal. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Subscribe to the Federal's YouTube page for more interesting updates.